All right, Paul here with TFL Car, and we're at VIR Raceway in Danville, Virginia, taking a look at the new Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing. And this car is sort of like a technological tour de force. I even thought of it as being, after hearing their presentations, as a bit of a love letter to the internal combustion engine. They're saying this is their last internal combustion engine that they're going to produce, and boy oh boy did they pull out all the stops. 6.2 liters, 668 horsepower, an over 200 mile an hour car. Now come back and look at the full video in mid-August where we can talk about driving impressions. That's when the embargo actually ends, and we can talk about everything about what this car not only is supposed to do, but what it does. Now under the hood of the CT5-V Blackwing, this is a LT4 6.2 liter supercharged V8. The numbers, are you ready for them? They're pretty astonishing. 668 horsepower, 659 pound-feet of torque out of this engine, and that puts it above anything else that's out there. The only thing you could really compare are cars that don't compare, like a Hellcat or something like that. But if you're talking M5, any variant, even the competition, this makes more power. AMG cars, this makes more power. Audi RS's, more power than those. So a really impressive vehicle. And of course, you know, you'd expect this car to be an automatic or a dual clutch, and indeed it has a 10-speed automatic transmission you can run with this car that has all sorts of upgrades for it to handle this kind of power and torque. But the great news is, as this is, again, a bit of a love letter to the internal combustion engine sports sedan, they insisted that there was also a manual transmission. So you've got a Tremec 6-speed manual. Now, because this thing makes so much power and torque, it actually has a dual plate clutch like you'd have in a performance car. They've actually polished the gears so that it has less noise and also better performance as far as torque capabilities of the gearbox. But a 6-speed manual with 3D printed shift knob and all sorts of cool little things on there. And then through the whole car, you know, you've got chassis braces that you can see, obviously this strut top brace, but also there's bracing underneath the car for the subframes in the rear of the car, in the back of the car, to increase torsional rigidity. So what we have here is a true, again, 200 plus mile an hour performance sedan that just happens to have the Cadillac name on it. And as far as its track capability, it's done 24-hour track testing consistent, where they did 250 tanks of gas in the car, continuously running it on the racetrack to prove what this car can actually do. It has 6 different intercoolers and radiators, you know, to keep it cool under all of these. So you can just go on and on and on about what looks like a fairly standard engine compartment, but actually houses one of the most powerful engines that's ever been put in a production car. So being the true performance sedan that it is, there's a lot of attention that they paid to the front end of the car. And the aerodynamics of all of that are really important because, again, the 200 mile an hour number means you can't have this big boxy car that doesn't do a very good job of punching through the air. It has to be efficient, in other words. And so they've looked at everything like they did with the CT4-V Blackwing, even the profile of the grills here and the meshes in the grills have been aerodynamically tuned. So instead of it just being pretty from the outside, they've actually put little vortex generators on the backside of each of these little V's that are in here. Again, just to try and feed the air as efficiently as they can through the car. And this does have the optional carbon fiber package where there's carbon fiber even here below the hood. Also the carbon fiber splitter and more carbon fiber on the sills, and of course the spoiler on the back too. And then all of these different ducts are all functional. Everything is functional. That's something maybe to comprehend on the car that so many things on a lot of vehicles are just styling features, but these are all feeding different things. We've got brake cooling ducts. Again, we've got intercooler ducting, all of that going on. And then they also want to make sure that they get the air out of the car. And so they've got a little bit of a lip on the front splitter here to make sure that they're diverting the air around. There's actually an air guide here that brings air in and then shoots it out behind. And all of this creates low pressure in this wheel well area. So you can see the vent here that allows that air. Again, this is a functioning vent that pulls air out of that wheel well and along the side of the car, and you've got a carbon fiber sill that's also helping keep that air separated beneath the car and above the car so it's flowing smoothly along. And that all tapers back into the rear diffuser on the bottom of the car here. And again, you're just sort of sculpting and trying to create as little drag as possible and at the same time as little lift as possible. And helping a lot with that, just like we talked about with the CT5-V Blackwing, we've got a big carbon fiber spoiler on the trunk, and they even put this little lip on it, and that lip allows a little bit of a gurney flap basically on the actual spoiler. Now, looking at the wheels, tires, brakes, and suspension on this vehicle, they're all top flight stuff as well. And starting with the tire, which is the most important part, we've got a partnership with Michelin where they actually have designed this specific Pilot Sport 4S for this vehicle. They've done that over the years that this car has been sort of in the design and testing phase. So it's a bespoke tire just for this vehicle. It's a 275/35/19 in the front, and it's a 305/19 in the rear. And then the wheels are forged, and then they're mirror polished, and they've even gone and laser etched the wheels on the cars as well. So they're very lightweight, very strong. Moving on to the brakes, you can see they're two-piece rotors on here, which means there's an aluminum hat with a cast iron disc, a 6-piston Brembo caliper, and optionally on this car, you can get carbon ceramic brakes. Get ready for this. Those carbon ceramic brakes, how much weight would you think they might save? The actual number, 64 pounds if you order the carbon ceramic brakes. Now, the steel brakes on this car are just as good around the track. They'll do all the same durability. They do the 24-hour full-speed durability test and pass it with flying colors. But 64 pounds of unsprung mass, that makes a big difference in the handling and the capabilities of the car. So that's definitely a nice addition if you can afford it. Well, when looking at the interior of the CT5-V Blackwing 2022 Cadillac, you start out with the seats, a lot of bolstering, and these seats even have a carbon fiber seat back to them, and then all sorts of adjustability. It even has a massage function. And you also have the perforated leather, so you get the air through the seats, which is really great in a high-performance car, especially a leather seat car. And then you adjust the bolsters in and out up here. That's kind of normal, but also down low as well. So lots of adjustability with the seat itself. Again, a very performance-oriented seating position. You can really kind of tilt the seat bottom down, which I really like because it helps under braking so you don't slide forward. That's really cool. Now, starting the car up, again, that's LT4 6.2 liter supercharged engine. This is the 6-speed manual transmission. It is a lovely shifter. You can maybe see in the video, but it has this really nice tight gate to it through the 6 gears, and it's not rubbery at all, and it's very positive and very quick. This is actually 3D printed, the little shift pattern that's on there with all this kind of cool, and it's hand brushed after it's 3D printed. And then the car actually has a flat shift function where you can leave your foot on the gas if you're at above 90% throttle and basically do your shifts at full throttle without lifting your foot off the gas. It also has a line lock for doing burnouts when you're drag racing. It also has rev matching. You hit this button here and you'll actually see your gear indicator when you're driving will appear in here, and it'll be yellow, as you can see there. And so the yellow is basically telling me that the rev matching is turned on, and that no lift shift is also turned on. Then I hit the button again and you can see it go white. Now I need to actually match the revs on the downshift. And along the lines talking about performance is this V button over here. And this guy, basically, when you hit that, it takes you into the menu and you can hear the exhaust change on the car right away. And now you can actually go and turn through the different modes here, from race mode to race 2 to sport mode to dry to wet or inactive, in other words, taking the system completely out of any of the modes at all. And that's not it, right? You've also got modes that are happening right here. So on this guy, now I go from sport to track to touring to snow and ice. And you're getting different levels of performance from the vehicle here, different levels of steering, different levels of braking, different levels of traction control, on or off, stability control, on or off. And one of the big ones is the magnetoreological shocks that are adjusting 1,000 times a second, deciding which program to put you in, whether it's touring, which is just driving at a really nice ride, giving you that Cadillac ride, or going into more performance type modes with the car. This steering setup and these controls actually were done in both the CT4 and the CT5 Blackwings with Cosworth Engineering, which is a racing company out of England. And the relationship there is actually through the race team, the DPI race team with Corvette Racing. And they actually have the race car here. Philippe Nazar, who is the driver of the race car, he's here. So all of them kind of supporting the performance pedigree of this vehicle. Looking at the CT4 versus CT5, when we're looking at the V Blackwings, you get a bigger screen in the CT5, and also you got your standard CarPlay, Android Auto, you can see there. All sorts of cool performance monitoring. I'll let you see my phone sitting down here on an inductive charger, so that's kind of cool that you have inductive charging. But the cool thing is it also has wireless CarPlay, so I'm able to use the inductive charger to charge my phone while I'm using CarPlay in the car. So that's kind of a next step that you'll start to see hopefully from more manufacturers that Cadillac already has in play. And then looking at the settings on the vehicle itself, we get in and we've got all sorts of cool stuff that we can do with vehicle, with apps. I mean, you're used to all this. It's a very snappy, quick system, and it allows you to do a lot of customization. When we talk about that with a performance car, one of the cooler things is PDR, Performance Data Recorder. And here you got an SD card that actually goes in a little slot to the left of the steering wheel. And here you're actually recording the car while you're out on the track. You've got lap timing, so you can actually go in and select the track that you want. You can even do custom tracks if you were autocrossing, for example. You can just start recording, and it does an overlay using the electronics from the car. So it has 34 different telemetry points, speed, G-force, you know, all of that stuff. And it does an overlay on the video for you, saves it on the card. You take the card out when you're done, you go plop it into your PC or your iPad, and there you go. You've got all your racing data recorded from your day on the track. And the layout is pretty intuitive. You've got this entire row that's kind of this brushed aluminum, and all of these are little up and downs. That took us a moment to figure out, right? Little up and downs for the fan or the temperature the whole way through. And so this is mainly climate control that's all in brushed aluminum. And then when we come down here to the bottom, this is our seat heating, our ventilation. We've got our lane departure there, 360 camera you can turn on or off there, and of course our hazard lights. So rear view mirror, right? Well, kinda. Camera rear view mirror. And then just by flipping what we'd normally use to tilt the screen up and down for someone coming up behind us at night. And then you've got all the settings that you can do here up and down here, adjusting the brightness, for example. Also, you know, so you can go through and do magnification on the mirror, so you can have it kind of zoomed in or zoomed out, and then you can tilt it. Now for stereos, Cadillac has a partnership with AKG. AKG has a 15 speaker system that they have in these cars. They have a 12 channel amplifier. It's got multiples of tweeters, subwoofers, and mid-ranges and mid-basses, everything you can imagine. It's actually quite a good system. It also has active noise canceling and sound enhancement, all built within the electronics. So they're taking with a microphone, there's no fake sound. They're taking with a microphone the sound of the exhaust from a microphone outside of the car, and they're porting that through the speakers. So you could call it artificial enhancement, but it's not fake, because they're actually using real exhaust sounds. All right, looking inside the trunk, it's a pretty nice trunk. It's not massive, but it's good sized, and it also has an inflator kit underneath here, so you don't get a spare tire. But just to point out, you can see how the opening is sort of this elongated oval shape, and that's just showing the chassis braces that are actually going down, where normally you'd see more of a rectangular opening. So all of that kind of leads into, yeah, you still have a pass-through and you still have split fold-down seats, but they're also bracing this body because of the performance capability of this 200-mile-an-hour sedan. Now, the price for all of this performance, it starts at just under $84,000. And when you load this thing up with all the carbon fiber and the carbon ceramic brakes and the interior features, you can get it up to about $125,000. So what we're looking at here, tip to tail, is probably the strongest representation of the ultra high performance sedan that's ever been built. It's got more horsepower, more top speed, more everything than just about anything out there. Magnetorheological shocks, a new generation of that. The list goes on and on and on. And so what we want to see is, does this car live up to the promise? It sure on paper looks like an amazing vehicle. So make sure you come back in mid-August when the embargo's over and we can actually talk about driving impressions of whether this car lived up to this actually pretty incredible amount of hype about what it's capable of doing.